review for you a film about the Harlem Culture Festival called Summer of Soul. Yes, that's right. When the white folk were in Woodstock and in the mud and free love and naked, down in Harlem, New York, there was a festival with nothing but soul and upwards of 300,000 Black people in attendance. But I think it was spread out between 6 weeks. So there weren't 300,000 Black people there at one time. I think there's like 40,000 or 50,000 at a time. But a whole bunch of Black people celebrating our music and our culture. They captured this video, and 50 years later, it is now just seeing the light of day. And it was put together by, I know Questlove had a lot to do with it, and I'm sure other people, shout out Hulu and all of those folk for buying it and showing it. I actually got a chance to see it in the movie theater, which when the pandemic was going down, the thing that I missed more so than anything else was going to the movies. I am a movie buff, okay? But enough about me. Back to this film. It was really good. And y'all know I be hypercritical. I be I'm quick to point a lot of things out that I didn't like or didn't add up. But this documentary was really, really, really well done, okay? So listen, I might share a few spoilers here and there, but it's a documentary. It's like, it's not like I can tell you the plot or what's going to happen. So whatever, stick tight. Go ahead and like this video right now. You don't have to wait. Like this video right now. And if you haven't subscribed to the tribe already, subscribe to the tribe. Check it out. So the festival took place in 1969. The context was there was political unrest in the United States. And I know that oftentimes we tend to think of political unrest as things that happen in other countries. But imagine a very large portion of the United States not only wanting a new government, but actively engaging in multiple groups that are designed to uproot the government and for legitimate cause. Vietnam War was raging on, and every community in America was affected by it. Leaders were being murdered. There was wanton suppression happening. The movie drew to my attention again that I'd known this fact, but I'd forgotten it. Between April 4th, 1968 and December 4th, 1969, Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, and Robert Kennedy were all assassinated. Fred Hampton was assassinated last, Robert Kennedy in the beginning, and Martin Luther King in April, for your information. But all these beloved young leaders assassinated, and many others. Of course, you had Malcolm X in '65, and just every time someone would step up, then their head would get lopped off by our government. Okay, so the way this was affecting Black folk were not only were we taken to the streets in arms with a variety of groups, as I stated before, not only on the streets but in the prisons as well, with the guerrilla movement happening in prison, and the Muslim movement happening in prison, and the Muslim movement happening in the streets, and the Black Panther movement happening in the streets, and SNCC was happening, and the civil rights movement in general was happening, and the Black Power movement. All the things were happening, and this festival captured the atmosphere of all of those things that were going down and encapsulated it in this event. It was It was really powerful and really necessary. I almost wish that I could have been in attendance. So check it out. The actual film starts out through the eyes of a child. It was a child who was there with his parents at the festival, and this child's and he's grown now, obviously. Like, he's grown now, and he's just looking at the footage. And I thought that was a very, very intriguing way to capture to capture the audience. Was you see the footage, but then you follow the eyes of the performers and the people in attendance, and just real first-class musicians as they watch it. So you're watching the footage, right? And then they'll flash to the people's reaction of the footage. And they're like, whoa, it's like the first time they've seen it since they were actually there. And it's like really gripping. And so it starts off with this boy who is, he's a fully grown, I don't do the math. What is he, freaking 50 now? If he was 4 or 5 years old in 1969, do the math. He's granddaddy age now. Maybe great granddaddy age now. But at any rate, he's watching it, and you see his eyes like, whoa, because he knew that he was there, but after the festival was over, like they forgot about it. Like, there was no festival in 1970 or 71 or any of the subsequent years. And so you see the little boy come back into his face as he's watching it. And I was instantly like taken into the film, taken to the festival, taken to that moment in time just by looking at his eyes, watch the footage. It was very powerful, extremely powerful. And so I love that effect. And so from that moment, it's like, okay, and I'm in the theater once again, so I'm in my happy place, but I'm like, okay, I'm totally 100%, I'm with it. Like my disbelief is suspended, and my criticism has taken a step back, which is hard for me to do, but my criticism took a step back, and I just wanted to go on this journey. Right? And so I did go on a journey. And so the performers that were there, my goodness, legendary performers, and then also people that I can't front, I just learned about by watching the doc. Some legendary folk were the Staple Singers, more on that later, but Stevie Wonder was there. My guy from the Temptations, David Ruffin, almost forgot his name. David Ruffin was there. My God, David Ruffin has range from deep to falsetto, and he was holding those notes. I, for the life of me, cannot understand how those old school R&B singers or soul singers, the Dells and David Ruffin and the like, all of those people, Marvin Gaye and the Temps and just Smokey Brown. I can't understand how those people were able to sing the way they were singing and smoke the amount of cigarettes they were smoking. Them cats probably smoked like a pack of cigarettes a day. This is before the warning sign on these cigarettes and before they were connected to cancer and all of that type of stuff. So I don't know, just fun fact, that's just where my brain went. Like, how can this brother, and he was doing other substances as well. Anybody who watched the Temptations documentary knows, but still, man, he was up there in rare form. Boy, big lanky brother up there blowing like, man, I was, listen, man, I was hyped. Okay, yeah. So who else was there? Nina was there. My girl, Nina Simone was there. I love Nina. Nina, the high priestess of soul, was there, and she was the revolutionary Nina. I feel like Nina was always the revolutionary Nina. No disrespect, I know my Nina fans, I love her too. But she was up there talking about, are you ready to kill? Are you ready to burn it down? I said, oh my God. That's why they blackballed Nina, and she felt as though she had to move to France, where she spent the pretty much the most of her life, and she couldn't get shows at these big venues, even though she was a classically trained pianist and went to Juilliard and had a big following and had a super amazing dynamic voice, because she refused to come off it. She refused to calm down. She refused to sing the songs that would make people feel comfortable. Nina was about putting in that work. Nina was about that rage. Nina was about her Blackness, and never apologized. And all of that was on display in her performance. Rest in power to Miss Nina Simone. Oh my God. Now, for me, there were many high points. There were many high points in this documentary, but if I had to choose one high point, it was the Staples singers. Marvis Staples was there, and they sang their set. I was mad that they didn't sing Let's Do It Again. I think maybe that came a little later, I don't know, but that's my jam. Let's do it again. That's my banger. But anyway, but they sang whatever, they did their thing, and they broke it down, and they talked about, how they felt now and whatnot, and everything was all good. Okay. They had a gospel segment, right? They had gospel singers there. And they had my guy from the Bay Area, from Oakland. The band, the group is called Edwin Hawkins, the brother Edwin Hawkins. I just love when the Bay is represented, you feel me? Sly and the Family Stone was there too, also representing the Bay. But anyway, back to my point. So they had Oh Happy Day, and they sang that, and then they brought out none other than Miss Mahalia Jackson. Now, if there's any other you guys out there like me who have a Black grandmother and grew up in the church, then you know that there were two people on the church fan. Church fan, it gets hot in there, no AC, so you gotta wave it like this, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, one of the people was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the other one was Mahalia Jackson. Mahalia Jackson is the queen of gospel. She sang at the March on Washington. I'm pretty sure she sang for Martin Luther King in person. I think she sang at his funeral as well, but my goodness, she is basically just the biggest deal in gospel from a historical standpoint. It was her turn to sing, okay? So she gets out there, she starts singing. They asked her to sing Oh Precious Lord, okay? They wanted to sing Oh Precious Lord. And she goes to Marvis Staples, and she says, hey baby, I want you to sing this song with me. I'm not feeling really good, I'm not feeling really good. And so the young lady says, all right, I got you. She feels honored, like, what? Share the stage with Mahalia Jackson. And they showed Mahalia, like at that time, it's like, oh, I can see that, how she doesn't, she looked like maybe she was, under the weather, right? Or, having health issues. And so they get, so Marvis Staples starts singing, right? And she starts doing her thing. It's one mic. And, she starts singing her thing, and then she passes that microphone to Mahalia Jackson. And it was clearly a setup, because Mahalia Jackson starts hitting these riffs and starts screaming and shouting and carrying on and taking it to an entire level that poor Miss Staples, with all of her talent and her growing up in a family band and all of her hits and all of her credentials, just the Lord wasn't with her in the way that the Lord was with the OG Mahalia Jackson. And I was like, oh my God. And she just blew this young girl out of the frame. Like, I was like, oh my God. And they going back and forth. And I was just like, this is cringe inducing. I mean, she just started, it was almost like in a sing R&B battle type of way. She just kind of put her in her place, right? And I'm sure they have a profound amount of respect for one another. Yeah, that's fine, right? But me as an audience member, I said, I see what happened, and Mahalia, God bless you, but you ain't right. That wasn't right. That wasn't anyway. So that happened. I should also say in the gospel segment, I didn't know that "Oh Happy Day," "Oh Happy Day," like, so that was rearranged by the brother Edwin Hawkins. And I remember, okay, so they stated that the Pentecostal church was mad at him because the Pentecostals are very strict, right? No drinking, no partying, no screaming, no shouting. And he was Pentecostal. And all this clapping and all this type of stuff, like, they really shunned him for making that record. And I said, where have I heard that before? Oh, shout out to Miss Lena Byrd. Lena Byrd. I interviewed her. Go back. For all my people that follow the podcast and you've been following, I interviewed Lena Byrd, the great gospel singer from the Bay Area, some episodes ago, and she told me that, and it was the first time that I ever heard that. And I said, what? And I didn't even know that Brother Edwin Hawkins was from the town and made "Oh Happy Day." Like, she told me that. And then to see it now on this documentary, I was like, man, shout out Lena, shout out to the Aqua Black Tribe, man. I'll be teaching people and I'll be teaching myself as well. So that was just super cool, like that whole gospel segment, because you got to think, they had the worldly music and then they had the gospel music, and they had put them all together for this festival. And I just thought, wow, it's so rare that the gospel crowd would mix with the worldly crowd right now. And just correct me if I'm wrong. Drop something in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't know. Could you see Jazmine Sullivan going on tour with Yolanda Adams? And I don't know. I don't think that would happen now. Maybe I'm wrong, but drop something in the comments to let me know if you've experienced something like that. At any rate, I just said that to say this festival had it all going on, and they were interviewing people about what was happening. And they had some Puerto Rican band. They had a Puerto Rican band there, and Sheila E. Glamorous life. Anyway, Sheila E. was breaking down the difference in styles between like those that just use the hands. I mean, there are those that just use the fingertips, and then there are others that use like their whole hands. But she was like looking at it, breaking it down like a football coach would break down film. or a boxing trainer would break down an opponent or something like that. She was doing that and putting all of her musical gaze and high artistic IQ on display, and was just breaking down these different styles. And that was just incredible. Like, it was just so incredible to see these musicians and to see these Harlem residents like really break down, really talk about their experience. But like that particular, to see Sheila E. break it down, who's been playing music her whole entire life, also from Oakland. That's beside the point. Let me get back to it. That was just so incredible. I was enthralled. What can I say? I was absolutely riveted for most of the documentary. They had a gentleman named Hugh Masekela. I hope I said his name right, but he was a South African artist, and he played trumpet and he sang as well. And he had the audience with him. And I said, I gotta get some of his stuff on vinyl, because he moved straight from South Africa, basically escaped apartheid right into the civil rights movement. It's like, yo, you can't escape being Black. You can't escape being Black. And at that time, they did a great job of putting it into international perspective as far as what was happening in South America, what was happening in Cuba, what was happening with the liberation movements all up and down Africa, and what was happening in Harlem and in Atlanta and all over the United States at that time as well. And they just did a great job of doing that. And so they had the brother from South Africa come, and he put it down. So that was great. It was just very, it was a very well told story, and just highly engaging. Now let me get on let me hate just a little bit, because Jesse Jackson was there. Jesse Jackson was there. Al Sharpton was there. I thought it could have done without both of those individuals. I just feel like I think that they do a lot to exploit the movement, and I just did not like that. Also, they gave a special shout out to the mayor of New York City at that time, and how much, what was his name? Let me see. What was this dude's name? I feel like I wrote it down. I didn't write it down, but I guess his name is not even worth mentioning. So, and yes, I was in the theater taking notes, because that's how I get down. But at any rate, yeah, so it was like they talked about him like, oh, he really loved to be around Black people. I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I seriously doubt it. Like, let's not get this wrapped up in politicians. I just felt like it could have done without those people. Y'all know I be getting petty sometimes. Let me know what you think. Not a fan of the whole notion of it, just what Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton represent. I'm not a fan of it. So they were there. I didn't like that part. But I just thought it was overall, it was incredible. They also covered the heroin trade and how it was impacting everybody in Harlem at that, well, the Black community at least. And they showed all the drug addicts and just the absolutely disastrous effects of the heroin trade at that time in the Black community in Harlem. And they showed young people just laid out, just like knocked out, dozing off, couldn't be waked up, slapped in the face and all of that. So they didn't just talk about Harlem as a cultural mecca, but they depicted it as a very real place with very severe problems as well, and with the ghetto areas as well. And they showed that, which highlights how desperately that particular festival was needed at that time. Now people just needed a release, and they were there, man. They were there in the trees. Whole families were there, and the young brother who I told you about, who we're looking at it through his eyes, he said that it smelled like fried chicken and Afro Sheen, which that's what he said. I was in the theater like, oh yeah, I can smell it. I can smell it. At any rate, man, that's what it is. That's what it is, y'all. Check it out. It's on Hulu and it's playing in select theaters as well. The film is called Summer of Soul. There is an alternate title, which is interesting. There's an alternate title, When the Revolution Would Not Be Televised. I don't know, make of that what you will, but there's an alternate title. But when you look it up, man, look up Summer of Soul. Check that out. And let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. It's cool to agree. It's cool to disagree, man. Drop something in the comments, man. Drop something in the comments. Go ahead and like this, man. Share this, man. Listen, support me. I'm trying to build something. Shoot this to your auntie. Shoot this to your brother. You know what I mean? Shoot this to your cousin that's in a pen, but you know he got a cell phone. He need content, man. I got him. I appreciate y'all. Oh. I'm giving this one an A. I would give this one an A. This movie gets an A. All right. Peace, tribe. And another one.